yours? Oh.
How we do it again?
Unmute your mic, really.
Okay. All right, let's get started.
Just realize you've got to rise. Just realize, just realize.
I have a fun topic that I think is open. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Just realize you've got to rise. Yeah, you're on the winning side. Just realize.
So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please. It shall prosper in the thing that I do send. Again, Matthew 5:11.
Just realize you've got to rise. Yeah, you're on the winning side. Just realize you've got to rise. Just realize, just realize. Just realize you've got to rise. Yeah, you're on the winning side. Just realize.
Good morning, guys. This is take two. All right, we are live. This is Juice Juice. Join us in Trinity Eternity. That's what that stands for. And again, today's topic is a fun one. I think that is something that we all can relate to, and it is closed mouths don't get fed. Closed mouths don't get fed. Speak on what you want. That's the subtopic. So it is closed mouths don't get fed. Speak on what you want. Right? And we're going to go to Isaiah 55, and we're going to read that from, I'm just going to stick with the NLT. I'm going to read all that off again. So we're going to go NLT, verse 11. It says, "It is the same with my word. I send it out, and it always produces fruit. It will accomplish all I want it to, and it will prosper everywhere I send it. It is the same with my word. I send it out, and it is always producing fruit. It will accomplish all I want it to, and it will prosper everywhere I send it." King James Version, I know I said I wasn't going to read it, but I don't know. I'm going to go to read it. "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it." So I have another verse I want to read too, but not right now. When we get to that point in our dialogue, then we'll get there. But I want to focus on that scripture because, again, the topic is closed mouths don't get fed. I am learning in my walk now that in order for you to get what you want, you need to be vocal, right? And you need to be plain, right? To be plain, be sharp about what you want, and you can't be afraid to ask for what you want, right? And that's something that I'm learning, right? Me as a person, I am naturally someone who doesn't like to necessarily talk. No, I'm not let it talk. That's how I want to talk. But let me finish. Talk about my problems, or talk about what I want. Right? I'm a person that just kind of goes out and makes my moves, and then let it happen, and let people just see it. But what I found out going through Students Week and kind of learned is that is actually just me having fear and not having faith in God. Why do I say that? If I don't go on Instagram, right, and I don't tell the world, yo, I'm trying to lose weight, right? Guess what that does? That gives me an easy out because I only kept it to myself. I didn't tell my wife. I didn't tell Instagram. I didn't tell the world. I think it gives me an easy out. So if I don't lose a pound, guess what? Who cares?
It's holding you accountable.
Nobody's holding me accountable. Who cares? I'm just afraid to put it out there because back in my mind, I know that I really don't want to do it. Or when I'm not really making the sacrifices in order to get it done. But guess what? If you go out and tell the world, I'm trying to lose weight, you tell your wife, yo, I'm going to lose weight, I'm finna get in shape, I'm finna get right, I'm finna do this, I'm finna do that, then guess what? You got to hold on to that. Because guess what? You done told everybody that's what you about to do. So now if they don't see you do it, now they're going to say, well, you said you're going to do this last time you do it. So you're going to do this last time you do it. So now we know your character flaws, right? And that's what we all hate to do. We hate to be exposed. So that's why I'm saying call it out and make it plain. Because now it's time to just make yourself get exposed. And put the pressure on yourself to get it done. God is not going to, we have to have faith that God is going to do it. But we have to put it out there. We have to put it out for him to hear it. Right?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I think it's a good point. I found myself these past couple weeks having these kind of like career conversations with my friends. Like just last night, we were hanging out with some friends, and one of my friends mentioned that she wanted to get her a certification for program management, or I'm sorry, project management. And it's like there's one thing to have like a desire in your heart, and it's like, okay, this is what I want to do for myself. But it changes as soon as you share it with somebody else, because it's like, oh, now she know. Okay, like he said, like now she'll hold me accountable. Now she'll follow up with me and be like, okay, did you study for your assessment? Like, you get what I'm saying? It's something so different when you get other people involved. And I know like society now kind of tells, I think it's both ways. Society will tell you like, okay, well, work in the dark, keep your business to yourself, which is true. Some things you want to keep to yourself. But when it comes to goals and aspirations, a lot of times, like, people are watching you, you don't even realize it. And people are seeing God through you, right? So if you want to be a demonstration, right, or example of like, okay, this is how God is moving in my life, if I don't share what my aspirations are with you, and I don't show you like, okay, here's the steps that I'm doing to get to where I want to go. Okay, now I'm there. When you look back, you can actually talk through, or people will be able to see like, okay, look how God has really influenced her life. She's been in the church, she's been doing her stuff, everything that she needs to do. She has a strong relationship with God, and look how he's propelling her to the next level, right? A lot of times you don't even have to say anything. People will just watch you and they see what's happening because of the way that you're moving. But I agree with you like wholeheartedly when you're talking about like when people know what your goals are, they can hold you accountable, and then you hold yourself accountable to even more. It's kind of like in the gym, right? I know we're using workout examples, but they always tell you like you need an accountability partner in the gym, because it's nothing worse than leaving somebody else hanging. So if you know your workout partner is already at the gym and you laying down in bed and they're hitting you up like, hey, where you at? You are more likely to get up and go to the gym just because you know somebody's there waiting for you. Whereas if you're trying to do it by yourself, you won't push yourself as hard. You might say, oh man, I didn't get enough sleep last night, let me sleep in, because you don't have anybody else on the other side waiting for you. So if we can have an accountability partner for every aspect of what we're trying to do, it'll make us that much more like accountable, right? It'll make us that much more intentional with what we're doing. So I think I agree with this 100% when it says like making it plain. But I wanted to go back to the scripture here a little bit. And verse 11, it says, where am I at? In NLT. It says, it will accomplish all I want it to, and it will prosper everywhere I send it. And this is with reference to God's word, right? So he's saying that my word produces fruit. So when I say something, there's a result that's going to come out of it. I don't say anything just for it to be said. There's a purpose behind the word that I have, right? And then also it will prosper everywhere I send it. So once I say something, this is God. Once I say something, it has to grow. It has to prosper. It has to move forward. It won't fall flat, right? So think about the desires that God puts in your heart, right? He puts this thing in your heart, and he's basically saying, if you move in the way that you're supposed to move, right, you will succeed. So, like, a lot of times when I'm going through something, I try to lean on to that, is that, like, if God puts a desire in my heart, there's no way he's going to let me fail, right? And I believe that. I believe it so much because, like, together and individually, we've gone through so much. And when we look back, it's like, wow, like, y'all don't even know. We have come such a long way, and it's only God, right? Only God. So I think I agree with this, and I think, like, we should do this more often, is, like, tell each other, like, what are my goals? What am I trying to accomplish? And let us hold each other accountable to it.
The thing is, even if you don't have even if it's not even for the purpose of having an accountability buddy, it's within yourself.
Yeah.
Because guess what's gonna happen? All we have at the end of the day as people is our word. At the end of that's all you have, right? You don't want to be known as the friend that's flaky.
Oh, that's the
Right?
worst.
Do you? Nobody wants to be that friend. Nobody wants to be the person that's flaky. Nobody wants to be that guy. So what happens is, if you put it out there, what's gonna happen? You're gonna say, you know what? I'm not gonna go back on that. I'm not gonna be like, I don't want to Instagram and told millions of people that I'm finna get right, and now it's 10 months later, ain't no change.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. So when you do that, you put that pressure on yourself. You hold yourself accountable. You'll say, you know what, bro, I'm not finna tell you about I did all this, and I'm not finna do it. Right? You're just not gonna do it. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I think accountability is one of the biggest things that we all struggle with as Christians, and I think on that journey of faith, it's very important that you have that accountability person. Because I agree with what the two of you have said. Accountability is like that extra, what do I call it? That extra juice on top.
Yeah.
The juice of all juices that just fills it all together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, I don't feel like getting up this morning, but you have told somebody that you're going to be there at 9 o'clock.
Gotta make it.
And that, we have these mini accountability things like my alarm. Okay, wake me up at this time.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still override that. But
Yeah.
when you have a human accountability person, it is different.
Yeah.
And I think it doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you don't know how to manage your life. But when you just have that extra accountability thing, I think accountability person, it really, really helps you move from where you are to get to where you need to be. None of us can get to where we need to be by ourselves. None of us can. It takes a whole lot of mistakes. It takes a whole lot of heartache. And finally you get it, you look and say, why didn't I just... But that's after you've been through the experience. But having accountability, just a quick thing. There's a very close friend of mine. He's a minister in UK. And one of the preachings of him that he's always had, he's like a marriage counselor.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, do not marry a woman who does not have an accountability person. Do not marry a man who doesn't have an accountability person. If you want to get married and you don't have an accountability person, find someone in the ministry where you are, in the church, wherever. There's got to be someone, because like you guys said, you've been through a whole lot. I can only imagine. Sometimes you look across the room and you think, who is that? That is not the person that I agreed to marry.
Yeah.
And some people actually walking on their way to get a divorce, but that accountability person is the one that you can go to, and that person can, whatever that person says, it will reset that other person's head straight away.
Yeah.
So I think, I completely agree with that. Accountability, you need it. And the issue is that with a lot of young people now, they're mixing, when they're getting to the point of being independent, you mentioned that sometimes you feel like, and I think Keith said it too, like, in the world that we live in, just keep it all inside. Some people really feel like keeping quiet is actually what shows that they're independent. No, it's not. Being independent, part of being independent, yes, you make decisions, but you need, like, what do they call them again? You need like a quality assurance tick.
Yeah.
And that's what your accountability person will do. And they will say, hey, you have no. I don't think this is the right way to do it. I think you need to go back to what you were doing before. So having an accountability person does not mean you're not mature. It just means that you're having that quality assurance checking what you're doing.
Yeah.
What's so crazy is we all know a person maybe, right? That says, oh yeah, Saturday we finna go out, we finna be outside Saturday, we finna go out, we finna do something. And then that Saturday come, guess what? I can't make it. This happened or whatever, right? Oh yeah, we're having a baby shower. Oh yeah, I got plenty of baby shower. We're gonna do it. The baby shower come, and that same person, he ain't sure. Then that person becomes what? Unaccountable. Because then you start telling yourself, you be like, that you tell your friends, she ain't gonna come. Don't worry about it. She ain't even gonna come. Right? We all know that person. We all know at least one person like that, right? And that person is what? Unreliable. Sometimes that's what we do to God. We go to God and ask Him for so much, but yet we don't put the effort to come match it. Then what? You're unreliable. God, I can't rely on you. All we do is ask you to come to church on a Sunday morning for 1 hour to sit in front of Jews, and I can't get you to come there on time. But then on the back end, you gonna come and ask me for a scholarship?
That's what for a call.
How can I rely on you to come? Tell me how that makes sense. I can't rely on you to come on one Sunday every morning for free to church for 1 hour. But then I gotta rely. But then you want me to give you $100,000 to go to school, and that's paid for. How that makes sense? Right? We talk about all the time. Your credit ain't good. That's what happens when you become an unreliable person. Right? You got that. What's the lowest credit score? 400, 3 something. What's the lowest credit score you can get?
I mean, non-existent is the lowest.
What's the lowest number though?
Oh, I don't know. I've never
Can you
seen anything below like 4. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. You got a 400. But that's what happens when you say.
To be honest, anything below 5 is not.
But that's what happens. Well, we're not talking about the specifics. But that's what happens when you say, right? When you don't want to put the pressure on yourself. So you have to put the pressure on yourself. So you can show God, listen, this is what I'm up for. You put this against me, you put a challenge to me, here I am. You put this before me, again, here I am. You put this before me, again, here I am. Right? We talk about deadbeat dads, right? If you have a dad that says, I'm gonna be there for this and he don't show up. I'm gonna be there for this and he don't show up. Oh, I got you for this school clothes and he don't show up. Or he don't come through. Guess what you do? You start relying on him. You say, I'm not even worried about my dad no more. I don't even care about my dad no more because he ain't coming through for me. All I got is my mama. All I got is my mama. My daddy ain't that. Right? That's what we do. But then if your dad comes through for you every single time, what's gonna happen? He's gonna become your superhero because you can count on your father every single time. That's the same way it works with God. It's the same exact way. It's nothing different. Every single time you go through, you're supposed to come through for him because he's come through for you already on the back end. The thing is, when you start out with God, he gives you an 800. He gives it to you. With the credit, I don't even know where to start you at. They'll probably start you right in the middle, right?
No, they start you out of nothing.
They start you at the nothing, and you got to work your way up, right? With God says, I'm gonna give you 800. I'm gonna see how much you bring it down.
I love that example.
Yeah, such a good.
I love the example, that credit example, 800, and to just think that somebody starts you off on 800. So the aim of God is not to gain from you, but to make sure that you stay in that place of provision and blessing that He's given to you. Whereas in the world, it's about we don't know you, we don't owe you anything. You have to work to get to where you want to be. If you want to be a 400, you'll be a 400. If you want to be an 800, be an 800. If you decide tomorrow I want to drop that to 400 by being irresponsible, you're your own accountability person. We will pull you from 800 down to 400. I really like that example. I really, really do.
Yeah, it is. I want to refer back to, or bring it back to the word, and go to verse 10, just the one verse above, where it says, the rain and the snow come down from heaven and stay on the ground to water the earth. They cause the grain to grow, producing seed for the farmer and bread for the hungry. Right? And we talk about a lot that we want to be like Jesus' representative on earth, right? We want to be God-like examples on earth. And if God is saying in His Word that what I say, I do, right? I think that's the simplest way to round this up is saying, I do what I say I will do. This ties into what we're talking about as far as accountability. When you say you're going to do something, you do it, right? And then on top of it, when we talk about when you say it out loud. So if I tell Layla, I'm going to come pick you up at 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, I should be showing up. I should be there. So it's the same thing with God's word. It's like if we're going to be examples, we have to do what we say we're going to do. I think your dad used to say that my word is everything. Like he always used to talk about his word. Is that money doesn't matter. Your relationships don't matter. Your like nothing tangible really matters. Your word is what matters. Your word is what is like what people hold you accountable to, but also what people view you as. Because if you don't keep your word, I'm not going to trust you. If you don't do what you say you're going to do, I will not trust you. And that's across the board. People won't trust you. People won't be able to rely on you, right? So if God is saying, I say something, my word accomplishes the mission that I set out for it, it should be the same thing for us to say that when I say something, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. If I say I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to put the steps in place to lose weight. If I say I'm going to meet somebody somewhere, I'm going to do that. If I tell my mom I'm going to wash the dishes, by the time she gets home, those dishes should be washed. It shouldn't be we shouldn't have excuses for not keeping our word, because your word is everything.
So we talked about that. Now I'm going to contradict us, and then we're going to tie it all in. But I'm going to contradict everything we just said, in a sense, because I want you guys first to understand. We talk about the accountability. We're talking about with God, right? We're using the other examples, but we're referencing God in what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're understanding that we want God to be able to hold you accountable. We want God to be able to trust you, right? So that brings me to the next scripture, which is James 1:19, which says, "Understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. Understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to be angry." How does that contradict what we just said before? It does, but I want somebody to say me. It's very simple. It's not a trick question. We just talked about before how we're telling you to speak on what you want, right? We're telling you to go to God and ask for what you want. Pray about those things. Ask God, this is what I want, this is what I want to accomplish, right? And then we're going to come back to this and then they'll tell you, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. How does that contradict what we just said before? I'm telling you it does, but I'm asking you how. It's very simple.
It's not a trick question.
It's not a trick question.
Y'all have the answer.
The reading is in the literature. Like, the
Yes.
answer's in the literature. There you go. That's the difference. That's a contradiction, but that's the difference.
Yeah.
Think before you speak. Think about who you're talking to when you do speak, right? Understand that everybody is not for you. Understand that some people are directly against you. And you must be able to decipher between the two. Not everybody wants to see you win. Not everybody wants to see you succeed. And some of those people are closest to us, right? So that's why we ask you when we do tell things about what you want, tell you put it out to the world, but pray to God about it first. You go to God and say, God, this is what I want. This is what I want to happen. And make sure that aligns with God. So then when you go out and tell the world, it doesn't come back void. Because you are in lockstep with God. God says you need to be going to UCF. You say, no, I'm going to Tally because my friend's going to Tally. I'm going to FAMU because my friend's going to FAMU. There's a difference. We all know that you know that you're not supposed to be going there. You know that's not a direct correlation of what you're trying to succeed. You know that you're easily influenced. So why would you put yourself in that position? God says, I gave you another scholarship to UCF. That's a lot more chill, and you don't want to use it. So I can trust you to make a decision like that, but then on the back, you want to make a bigger decision on something else later on. Your credit's not good. So what we're saying is be slow to speak and understand that there's a consequence of when you make decisions. There is a ticking time bomb in your brain that always understand that every decision that I make is going to have a reaction to that. I don't care how small, how big. There's something small that said I'm gonna turn right as opposed to turning left. It's gonna completely change everything. Right? You follow your maps on your phone, going somewhere. If you tell you to turn left and you turn right, now guess what? Now the time will be 5 minutes or 10 minutes. There's always going to be a reaction to your action. Always.
Yeah. I like the point that you're making about being slow to speak and listening. But not even just that, but like I think the bigger point is what you said is like you have to be in lockstep with God. And that's the mistake that we make oftentimes is that we make a decision on our own and then we move, right? It doesn't take much to just slow down and stop and just pray. Pray about it. I have a real close friend who's so good about that. She was making a decision to move out of state and or stay in Florida, and like for weeks that girl was on her knees praying about it, and then little by little people would like confirm this thing and like tell her like, okay, you should stay here for this. She started getting promotions at work, increasing her income so that she could stay here, like, you know, different things like that. God really started to move in her life to really show her like, oh, you don't have to move. I'm setting you up to get you in a place where you're okay here. So I think it's the same way. Like, she's such a good example to me because it's like sometimes I have a thought in my mind and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to move. No, you gotta chill. Stop. Pray about it. I think a couple years ago we had a whole session with you all asking you, are you comfortable praying? Right? Do y'all remember that? This had to be like 4 years ago. Remember we talked about prayer and like how comfortable are you praying? Are y'all comfortable?
I remember that because we spoke about waiting on God.
Right.
And then you wait, He will confirm it.
He'll confirm it. So how often do you just say, okay, before I make a decision, let me just ask God real quick? Be honest. We're not gonna. I mean, that's between you and God if you lie about it. But you know what I mean? How often you just say like, okay, let me ask God? Do you? Sometimes. For the most part, that's what it is. Sometimes. But it needs to be all the time. Like, don't move until God says you need to move. And He'll confirm it. There's going to be people who come up to you and be like, Layla, yeah, you should dye your hair burgundy. Yup, it's going to be fire. Fire, 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 fire. Dye it burgundy. Yes, do it. What do people, let me stay on topic. Forget it. But even something simple as that, like, should I dye my hair burgundy? Is that going to open doors for me in some way? You never know. A modeling scout might see you, be like, man, ooh, chocolate girl, burgundy hair, yes, let's get her on. But you get what I'm saying? You never know what your decision, like Keith is saying, small things to you could be a big thing. It could open a door that you didn't even think about, right? So even something so small, like, okay, let me dye my hair burgundy. Ask God about it. Start small before you make those big decisions and you're like, okay, well, let me move to Kansas and see how God is going to move. Because you need to learn how he communicates with you. Do y'all remember we talked about how, for me, I feel like God communicates with me differently, obviously, than Keith. Keith always says, like, he'll see banners, right? He'll see, like, little signs here. He'll be driving and all of a sudden there's a sign that says something that's related to something he's been praying about, right? For me, I feel like it's kind of internal, like, or sometimes people will come to me and say things that confirm what I'm praying about. It's different for everybody, right? But you won't recognize it if you don't start trusting God to give you answers for the little things. Does that make sense? So think about it. If it's sometimes, you better start asking God, should I get some new glasses? Just start small, for real. Like, get Him involved. Get God involved in your life on the little things so that you know I can rely on Him on the bigger things. Because it's hard to, I think, I don't even know if I can articulate this the right way, but think about a relationship. Like, let's say, okay, you just started becoming friends with someone. You're not going to trust them with the big things in your life because you're still trying to get to know them, right? So think about your best friend. Your best friends are your best friend for a reason because y'all been through some things together, right? And a lot of times what happens in church, even if you grow up in church, a lot of times what happens is I'm here because my mom comes here, right? And you have not taken the opportunity to really grow your relationship with God until something happens in your life and you're like, okay, let me get on my knees and pray because God, I need you to come through. Okay, He comes through. And then you're back to the same old, and not really day-to-day relying on God and building that relationship. Because it's hard. It's hard to really wholly trust God if I don't have a relationship with God. Just like you're not gonna trust somebody you just met until y'all have years in, you've been through some things. So I hope I articulated the right way, but it's like trust Him with the little things so that you can know that you can trust Him with the big things.
I think I agree completely with everything you just said, Jenna, but I think the root of it, the foundation of it, is to spend time with God.
Yeah.
God is so individual to each and every one of us. The way He communicates with each and every one of us here is absolutely if you don't spend time with, even start with just 5 minutes a day. Find somewhere to sit. Find somewhere to sit away from everyone. The house where I used to live in London before I moved here, it had a beautiful toilet, and it had like a long corridor. So when you enter, it's like a long corridor, and you see such a lovely. It used to be my daughter's favorite place. You're looking for, she'll have a pillow, a quilt, everything. That used to be like her spot.
Yeah.
Find it. Start with 5 minutes, then it will grow to 10 minutes. You need to know when God is talking. So you need to know the difference between when your flesh is speaking and when the Holy Spirit is speaking to you. Because sometimes it sounds similar. So you've got to be, because sometimes our desires are so strong, like what Keith was saying, that, oh, I want, God has provided something, but you want to go that way. And you feel so strongly about it, you could dream about it, you could hear a voice about it, but it's not of God.
Yeah.
So that's where this accountability also helps when you bring that in.
Yeah.
It's so important that you know how God talks to you. And when he's talking, that is actually him that's saying something to you. But you only get to know the voice of God by staying quiet. Now we've got this, we've got that in our ears, we've got that in our eyes. Every second we're engaged now. So we live in a time whereby there's so much data that's being thrown at us. Your brain barely has time to make sense of what it is. You fall asleep with your AirPods in your ear. We're just not, it's not like back in our parents' day when, okay, it's nighttime, there's no email, there's no
TV
mobile
shut down.
phone,
Yeah.
nothing. So they had that opportunity. Nowadays, we don't. We think it's productive, but actually, it's counterproductive. It's not. We need to leave ourselves alone so that when God speaks to us, we can hear him. And when we have to wait on God, we have to wait on God. His time is not our time. But what he's got for us is for us. So we can't miss it if we're waiting on God. In the flesh, you might feel like, oh my God, I'm not hearing anything. Because we've got a set mind. This is how God's going to say it. This is how he's going to do it. This is what he's going to say. God doesn't work like that. He's thinking way out of the scope of what we can ever imagine.
Yeah.
One thing I asked God when I joined Juice, I said, when I want to talk about something, I'm so passionate about that thing. I'm just going on and I'm just talking about. And I watched a couple of videos and I didn't like what I was seeing. I was like, I feel like I'm not letting people talk. And I feel like but it didn't feel like that at the time when I was talking. So I said to God, God, I need you to show me how to communicate with other people when we're doing Juice. So it's not like I'm the only one talking every second. And I waited. First in my mind's like, okay, so he's gonna like walk me through something. It was nothing like that. What basically happened about a year ago is that I just found myself in Juice. And that day you made it. This is how God confirms things. You made a statement that, oh, Sister Tabitha, you've not said anything. Have you got anything? And I realized that I had not said a word throughout the whole. I was lilistening to you.
Like subconscious,
It was subconscious, but I was so much at peace.
Yeah.
And that was when it happened.
Yeah.
If you meet people that are really passionate about things, they can just go on. They've forgotten that there are other people that are there. So for me, that is something that's always been a part of me. But now working in collaboration, you've got to change certain things. It's like a drug addict saying, waking up saying, I'm not going to take drugs today. They would love to say that, but it doesn't work like that. It's a deeper process. So talking about waiting on God, I had to wait. So that means I waited 4 years for that change to happen.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like 4 years. So spend time with God.
Yeah. So you mentioned something, we were talking about how like young folks now can't sit by themselves, right? Without technology, without something. So there's actually this experiment I just learned about, right? Y'all like this. So they put a bunch of people in a room, each person in a room separately, right? And they say, either you sit for the next 30 minutes in complete silence with just your thoughts, or you press this button and get electrocuted. Real talk. This is a real experiment. You can't go to sleep. You have to sit in silence with your thoughts. Can't, no phone, no nothing. You know what these people were doing? Nobody lasted more than 10 minutes. They prefer to press the button to be electrocuted so that they can have some type of stimulation rather than sit with their thoughts. Isn't that crazy? I'm telling you, I would sit happily with my thoughts. But that's what Sister Tabitha is alluding to, is like, we are so tied to our phones. We're so tied to social media. We need to have music in our ears. We need to have TV on while we're sleeping. We need to have all this stimulation that you really cannot sit still for 30 minutes. You would rather get electrocuted. You rather get shocked than sit with your thoughts. So think about that. Think about that.
I have a point system.
Yeah.
I have to get a certain number of things done, and it adds up to a certain number of points.
Before you
That's
pick up
what
your phone.
determines whether I can watch a movie or not. I don't get those points, I don't watch the movie.
Yeah, see, that takes a lot
It's a
of
point system.
accountability. But I'm sorry, I cut you off. You're going to say
No, I'm
something.
just gonna focus on that one little part. It's kind of off topic that says quick to listen,
Yeah, yeah.
and I just want you guys to hold on to that before we wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
Is when it says you must all be quick to listen and slow to speak. The reason why I want you guys to focus on that is because if you truly just listen, like not just listen to hear, but listen to understand, you'll really begin to know who people are around you.
Yeah.
I promise you.
That's a good
Like,
point.
don't just listen to hear what they're saying, but listen and truly understand and try to like decipher what they're really saying to you or talking about. And you'll really learn to understand who your friends are, who really aren't your friends. You'll be able to decipher who's there for you and really who's not. You'll be able to really understand who really got your back. I promise you. If you're able to just, I understand it sounds crazy when I say hear and understand, but there is a difference. Because me and my wife can communicate all we day, but do we listen? There's a difference. That's why people ask me, oh, the most thing important in marriage is communication. No, it's listening. It's listening. Communicate all you want, but if you're not listening, it ain't going nowhere. So truly listen to what people are saying, and listen to God. And listen to, like, have an ear for just what people are really saying. Like, decipher what your homeboy's saying to you.
Yeah.
You will be like, wait.
And it's not all service level, too.
You'll be like,
It's underneath, yeah.
he just, okay, that don't make no sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I promise you. Like, your homegirls, you just, like, really listen to something. They have a deep conversation about something stuff, and you just, like, that's how some lawyers, like Judge Judy, sit there and be like, you're lying. Because Judge Judy not listening to what you're trying to say. She's listening to, he understand what you're saying. That's why she's be like, she'd be like,
Yeah.
he's lying.
Yeah.
She's lying. Because there's people, you can hear the depths, you can hear and understand what people are really saying if you have an ear for it. You have to train yourself to do that. But we can hear people talk to our conversations like, oh yeah, that's dope. But if you really listen to somebody, sometimes you be like sometimes, like, all right, the other day, I'm wrapping up because we got to go. The other day, I was at a smoke shop, and this guy knows that me and my boy own our company. A lot of people we don't tell that we work with because we just don't want them to know. But this guy knew. He was a younger guy, though. Younger black kid. He was just like, yeah, man. And every time we see him, he tries to one-up us. Every single time. Me and my boy, we wear Jordan stuff and work. You know, but we chilling. We already know him like that. We drop off the order, keep on going. But then we had this conversation, and he was just talking to us, and he tried to one-up us, and we were talking about our plans. We was talking about our plans, what we want to do, how me and my wife want to start buying houses and flipping and stuff like that. And he was just like, yeah, bro, I already did that. Oh yeah, bro, I opened up this, and I made 2 point something million last year. But we going throughout the conversation, having a conversation. But me and my boy got back in the car, we just kind of like, wait, hold on, wait, did he say what we just thought he said? Now, tell me, am I wrong? Now, I'm not trying to be a judgmental person here. Maybe I shouldn't say this on live, but don't tell me you make 2 point something million out there every single, and you made that last year, but your hair looking like it's looking, your shoes look like what it looked like, your car look like what it looked like. It just don't make sense. Like, it's not even that. I'm talking about the stuff wasn't even like decent. It was just like to the point where you just know, like, okay, he's lying, like straight up lying. Ain't no way. You just felt like you have threats in front of you, so you need to put yourself here. But we didn't even put ourselves there. So sometimes what I'm trying to say is just listen to what people really say, and you'll be able to decipher like, wait, that's a load of crap. That don't make no sense what you're saying to me, bro. You know what I'm saying? But y'all take that. We gonna wrap it up.
Yep.
Y'all good? Y'all good? Y'all good? I appreciate y'all. It was Juice with another one. We'll be back next week here with another topic, and we'll keep it going. Appreciate y'all.
Bye. Oh.